So does this mean that Nate's comment about Gary being the ultimate beta isn't even recorded? It's the most disappointing thing I've learned today.
He demanded an interview just so we could insult him. I think he's into it.
All right, I'm going to introduce Nofo just in case he solves his issue. But I'll do the intro. 33 days, 13 house guests, 5 invaders, and 1 podcast. This is Isolated Invasion, and I'm Poody, also known as Big Brother Delta. Today we're joined by Isolated's main host, Nofo, also known as Big Brother Alpha. We're also joined by the winner of Isolated Splintered, Loveita.
Hello.
And Tim from Isolated Splintered, also known as Nate.
Hello.
And I believe Danny is listening, but I won't introduce him just because.
I'm just going to be jumping in with commentary, but let's leave it to the experts.
Nofo's having some technical difficulties. His mic's not showing up for whatever reason, so hopefully he'll figure that out mid-podcast, but if not, I'll just be reading his comments from...
We should just make Danny responsible for reading Nofo's thoughts.
For the sake of being incriminating, try to do a Nofo accent.
Yeah, you have to do it with like a lisp, though.
I don't think I can do a good Nofo impression.
Channel your inner Nofo.
Hello?
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
There's Nofo.
The shade summoned him.
Cool. I will mute myself then.
All right, well, let's jump in with our cast. Let me pull up my little cast list. I have the interviews and I've highlighted some things that I'll read from them, and we'll talk a little bit about what we expect from this person and how we think that they'll do overall. So first up, we have Annie, who is played by Mercedes. Mercedes is 22 years old. She is a trans woman. I'm assuming she's Asian?
She's Vietnamese.
I think Vietnamese. Okay. She says, if you're confronted by a fellow house guest, what would your reaction be? I'd definitely try to egg them on to melt down. I'm very sarcastic with a troll-like nature, so I'd probably just provoke them to look crazy. How would you like to be portrayed on the real show if you had the option? I'd like to be portrayed as a complex, sarcastic, but funny Como queen? Como queen? I don't know what that is.
She means confessional.
Okay. Representing the trans girls out there. And then I asked, how do you think you'd actually be portrayed? And she said, probably as a troll who napped all day and got involved in the drama for fun. She struck me a lot like Chelsea, where I think she's got a little bit of a trollish nature to her, as she said. I don't know how well she'll do. What were y'all's takes on Mercedes?
I think she's going to be a very interesting cast for sure. I think, at least on my end, I really want to see her in the underdog role. Like, I know she mentions this herself, but in like a Min Lee from BB Canada 8 or a Michaela from BBAU 13.
Yeah, I took her to be... She really reminded me of Chelsea a lot. Just the sarcasm and slight bitchiness, but I also think she'll be really likable like Chelsea was. So somewhere on the line between villain and hilarious hero, maybe like a Britney would be. I don't know. I don't know how she'll actually play the game, but...
Yeah, I don't think she's going to like hold back at all in how she speaks to people, which could make for some really interesting pieces of maybe drama or fun strategy bits. I don't know how well she'll do in the game necessarily, but I think she'll be a fun addition to the game. I think however long she's there, she'll be enjoyable to watch.
I see like a mid to late jury boot for her. Sort of like Cassandra in BB Canada.
Okay.
I think that's who I'd probably compare her to.
Yeah, her answers to like how she'll think she'd do, she definitely skewed more in the like the fun aspect of it, more so than like the hardcore gameplay. So that's kind of where I see her. I could see her being someone's number 2 that is very good at bitching and confessional.
Right. Someone that you would probably bring along pretty far, but cut closer to the end, I think.
Yeah, I could definitely see her as somebody's social shield, somebody to take the heat for any like backstabbing or anything like that. I feel like she would be more than willing to take the attention for that and let somebody else kind of slide more under the radar using her in front of them.
Yeah. I really want to see her. I know this is entirely my fantasy, but I want to see her as the cockroach you can't kill this season. I think that's probably her optimal. She gets to bitch however much she wants and it's all justified. And we all stand her the whole time in every confessional she makes.
I don't know if I see that for her. I don't think she'll be that strong of a player in terms of like having all the attention. I see her more as like talking Isolated 4. I think she'd be more of like the Devon, you know, where like she has the funny one-liners, but isn't like in the thick of driving the game, you know.
I think that's a very fair point. And I think you could be right about that.
Okay, well let's move on. If no one else has anything else to say about Mercedes.
Danny said that she was a queen.
Yeah. I really like a majority of the cast. I think there's, maybe one or two that might be iffy, but I think overall, like, it's a pretty strong cast.
Right.
As always.
Yeah, speaking generally, before we go into everybody, as we've already gone into one, I think everybody on this cast is super strong. Really diverse group of people, too, personality-wise and demographically.
Yeah, there's a solid 8 or 9 people I really adore on this cast.
Yeah, I think safe to say probably our most diverse in terms of demographics, where we have a lot of different races, ethnicities, genders. It's just like really a good cross section. The only thing I think we might be lacking a little is age variation compared to some other seasons, but I think the background of the players will make up for that.
And I'm a little nervous that we might not have a clear villain.
I wouldn't worry. I think we have plenty of intruder drama. But I see what you're saying. Like, we really like everyone. I think some people are naturally going to be villainous. I think we'll get into those people.
Yeah, if you put 10 people in the house, one will be a villain regardless.
Well, yeah, right. And I think, some people, we had no idea Stephanie and Stranded was going to be one of our biggest villains. So, I think some people will surprise us. But let's go ahead and move on to our second house guest. We have Bailey, who is played by Mrs. Murderface. Love the name. Love the application even more. And I think the most surprising thing before we get into just the overview of her is that we found out I guess we can dox this. She founded the famous Twitter account Trump Regrets. So definitely like find of the season, I think.
And it was pure luck too. I'll be honest, I was just going through Reddit and I was sending to people who looked slightly interesting in the comments. And I really didn't think much of her when I found her. And her app was just amazing, and her interview was even better. She's really nice and really likable.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And even like we did some sleuthing on her. And I think that was like the main thing that came across is like she's not, you would think someone with that Twitter account would be kind of radical and a little bit in your face. But like reading her interviews, she came across really sweet and kind of understanding of both sides of the argument, which I thought was super mature, especially because I think that interview was while she was in college, and of course she's 27 years old now. So I think that showed like a lot of maturity, and I think she's going to be one that's like super likable here.
Yeah, she seemed like a super engaging personality, somebody it's really easy to just have a conversation with out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't seem like you have to try very hard to talk to her, which I think is really helpful in this kind of arena and environment. And yeah, with the Trump regrets and the interviews and stuff, she seems very perceptive and understanding, like putting herself in other people's shoes and looking at different perspectives, which I think is going to be very good in this type of game.
Yeah, she has a core social understanding, which is really useful for these kinds of games.
She is a African Canadian, I believe. She says in her app, I'd like to be portrayed as bubbly and funny, but intelligent and sneaky. I'd probably be portrayed as a ditz because I am a flirt and I have a silly sense of humor. I plan to use my social skill and to flirt hard. I will try to make as many close friends as I can so I can manipulate them and play them off of each other so that nobody knows who to trust. That was the other thing. The only other org that she had played was a Love Island org, which I thought was funny.
It's amazing. How do I sign up?
Yeah. Well, she said like nobody showed up though. So
I'm a bit concerned about her flirtiness because I don't know how that's going to translate with the male side of the cast, because most of them are going to be assuming that most of the girls are going to be played by men, and that's really not the case except for Flip.
How many straight men are on this cast?
Probably 3 or 4.
So it's not 0.
At least one of them's married, though.
We'll look when we get into them more, but I know there's at least 2 off the top of my head.
So yeah, I just hope I'm wrong in that, people don't get put off by that in itself. Because she definitely is one of my favorites in the cast. I think she's very personable. I think she's charismatic, probably top 3 as far as charisma in this cast for me. And I could see her doing really well with the social game.
I don't think it'll be. I mean, you guys played with Kelsey, so it didn't really hurt her. I mean,
and I don't know that I'd necessarily like. For me, Mrs. Murderface, she seems more like a flirty personality than she does like where she's just trying to flirt. And to be honest, Kelsey wasn't necessarily flirting. I think it was a little more than that pretty quickly. But I think there's a difference between that flirty personality, somebody who's just, kind of messes around, drops hints, has those fun little wink emojis, but doesn't go any further than that,
Yeah, I think I'm a little kind of blinded based off of what we had in Stranded last season or in Coral Islands, where the men, even after we told them, all the women were played by real women, they still were kind of suspicious of them and still treated them like they were men. I think that's where I'm coming from.
Well, I think a big difference between this cast and that cast is I think a lot of the men are first-time gamers as well, if I'm not mistaken. And I also think, I don't know, there's going to be... This is almost like a majority female, right? Or is it even? I think it's even, but...
It's slightly below even.
Yeah, so I think this will be a totally different feel, to be honest with you. I don't think it's going to be a factor, especially since we're not highlighting the gender divide,
Right.
I think it won't come into play nearly as much. All right, well, let's talk about our next person, who is Brett, played by Chubbs 2021, which is a hilarious name. Another standout in casting for the complete opposite reason. I think this is another find that's pretty rare. And I have a feeling if he comes and actually shows up, we could be in for a very epic, an epic player here. I think notably right off the bat, the app was in all caps except for the last statement, which we weren't sure if that was part of the shtick or if it was just an accident. I think he confirmed it was just an accident. But anyway, this guy is 26. He is an MBA student at Harvard Business School. And I think his name was, I thought his name was an innuendo, but apparently Chubbs is the business school.
It's an initialism of his undergrad and master's degree, which makes it even funnier that he accidentally arrived on Chubbs.
Yeah, right. I think that might sum up him as a person in general. First of all, he's again, through stalking, we know he's a pretty attractive guy, very athletic and competitive. I think he's a little unaware of how he comes across, which is super arrogant and douchey.
Right.
I'll be interested to see how that plays out. Now, he could be a very nice guy, and we're just assuming he was, based off first impressions. However, in his app, he did say his favorite was Paulie. He said he loved him on Big Brother and The Challenge. He is a great athlete and a killer competitor physically. His social game, not so much. He says he will be portrayed strategic, witty, and downright ruthless competition-wise.
And he said he would be he was pretty sure he'd be the smartest person in the cast.
Yeah, I threw that out as a.
Can he bite? Does he?
He said easily, to be specific. He said he was easily going to be the smartest person in the game and is deceptively intelligent, which I'm not sure how you can be deceptively intelligent if the first thing you tell everybody you meet is that you go to Harvard. So I don't know if that's the strategy he's going to approach here, but we'll see what he does.
I thought it was.
You gave him the easiest fate there.
I mean, let's be fair, he might be the smartest person in the room. That being said, this is not a game about intelligence necessarily so much as social intelligence, which is a totally different monster.
Yeah, I think a big problem for him, and this is something he mentioned in the interview as well, once his temper goes, once he hits that limit, all of that strategy, all of that game bodiness he kind of gives off, that's going to go away. So I think the second he gets frustrated in this game, the second somebody else doesn't do what he wants him to do, he's just going to go off the rails and just slowly kill his own game. And I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think he's one of the ones I'm most looking forward to, not only because of his interview, he's super competitive, but also because it's not every day we get a Harvard business student in these games. And I think that will be interesting. And frankly, I'm sure he worked his dick off to get that. So he probably will bring it up all the time, Good for him, What's that, Nofo?
Can we talk about how he said he hates arrogant people in his app?
Yeah. He said
that's most arrogant people.
Yeah, he said bullies, hate them. I will pick them off one by one. Also hate arrogant people. I mean, he also said his favorite player was Paulie. So
yeah, in his interview too, he said he can't stand stupidity or cockiness.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to run into a lot of that in this game.
Yeah.
Or he's going to see a lot of that in this game. Whether or not it does exist or not, he's going to perceive a lot of stupidity and cockiness from the other players.
Yeah, this is a type that's super common on reality TV that isn't really common in ORGs, which is why I think this is quite interesting.
I was going to say, I think that a lot of these house guests, yes, I think a lot of them would actually make it on Big Brother just based off their look and personality and background. As we will find out, there are some that have come very close. It would not shock me if some of these people ended up on the real show. I think that this cast is that good, you know.
Yeah, like I guess the person who's going to be like Mercedes very easily could be on Canada. The Trump tweets person, I forget their username, could very easily be on Big Brother Canada as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think Callie and Chubbs could very easily be on Big Brother US.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was, what's her face? Robin Cass, those would just be slam dunks for me.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm sure they go through much more rigorous testing and see if they're good on camera. But if their interview process is anything like this and these people stood out for us, I'm sure that they would have a pretty good shot, as they seem to have done in the past. We'll get into that more when we talk about Callie's application. As far as I think Chubbs will do, I actually think he won't do terribly. I could see him going the route of Ziggy in Isolated, where he's the early jury boot. I can't see him getting left out early on, although I guess it could happen. But I totally see him getting locked in with someone and kind of playing like the Jackson, Jack, Brett, Winston type of dominant alliance game, which can only take you so far. But that's where I see him.
Yeah, I think Brett as an alias will work out really well.
I see him very similarly to Ziggy and Brayden from ISO 3. I think he's going to be someone who, makes his comp threat status obvious way too soon and just goes pretty early in the merge or in the jury. Sorry.
Right.
I'm just going to say the fact that we have even a chance of somebody playing like Brayden or Ziggy from ISO 3 is like honestly our best case scenario. Like those two were the entertainment, and I think that Chubbs is going to be the same thing. Just somebody who's so fun to watch, even if he's not going to actually be that great of a player.
Yeah, his best case is a Jackson Mitchie. His most entertaining case is Paulie Calafiore.
Right. I think, he's going to be one of those players that is not expecting to be over the top. Like we interview people and sometimes we're not expecting them to be over the top. But once they hit the game and the paranoia hits, they kind of come out of their shell as like this way over strategist. And I think there are a couple people in here that might hit that note once they're in the game. But let's go ahead and move on to Brittany, who is played by Hadley. I'm saying that right. She is 20 years old. She found us through Google. She says that she ends up playing as Brittany Haynes, probably because of this. But in her application, she said, I feel like Brittany and I share a similar personality, both being eccentric and very sociable individuals. I really enjoyed her gameplay in both of her seasons and her ability to still actively play the game while laying under the radar. And I think I mimicked that about her. Being able to stay neutral and social, avoiding being a target, but still being able to play a respectable game. Also, blondes have more fun. I think this was she was super fun to talk to.
Oh, she was so much fun to talk to. I loved her interview so much. And the other reason I'm really glad and I pushed for her to be Brittany is she did promise me snappy one-liners through chat and diary rooms, so I'm expecting that from her, and she better deliver.
Yeah, I mean, to preface that, we were talking about reps, and we didn't want to give away Brittany and Rachel willy-nilly. If it was going to be somebody, I would hope it would deliver, especially because they're going to have a target for that. I think you guys convinced me, and I think you were right that she can definitely pull it off, if anyone could. Season. Something
else I really liked about her is that she said bonds guide her more than anything. I think she's going to be an incredibly social player, and I think that'll work out really well. So that's another reason I like her a lot.
She's very articulate for how young she is. She's only 20.
And for how goofy she is.
Yeah. She's very articulate, but she's also very fun. I think that's going to serve her very well. And the next person we're going to talk to after her is very similar. So I really hope those two kind of bond.
Yeah, I highlighted some more of her app. And she said, I'd like to be a bit of a comic relief at the same time, but not going to force that. I'm all for girl power. So girls who are not about that submissiveness and like to speak up for themselves, I'm here for that. I'm a city girl, so city people are my people. She says she'll clash with alpha males. They truly make me sick to my stomach. We get it. You were born with balls, and what else do you have there? I could totally see her clashing with the previous application.
Yes.
Who is very alpha male and very much about that personality. I think there are a few people that are like that here, which will be fun to watch her play against. I think also there might be some alpha females that she's not digging, What do we think?
Yeah, I could see that. Another part of her application too, when you asked about the confronting, is she's like, wow, I'd probably retaliate back. So she's not going to sit back and take stuff if people talk down to her, if she hears about something going on. She's going to go right into their business and figure out what's happening and get it straightened out somehow. Or not get it straightened out. So I think that'll be really interesting. I think she's got a lot of personality to her. It could end up meshing really well with some people, but as you said, I think it could really end up creating some interesting conflicts too.
Yeah, she's another Canadian. A lot of Canada applicants this time. Yeah, I think, she came across as like a huge personality, but I also think she does have good gameplay. I'm hoping she's everything that she's claiming to be. I don't know if that's necessarily the case just yet, but we're about to find out. What are your thoughts, Nofo?
I think she's a lot of fun, and I could see her doing very well. I'm gonna predict around, maybe I'm gonna just go ahead and say fourth place. That legendary fourth placement for girls. I think that's gonna be her, or she'll go very early.
I'm gonna say I think she'll go around where Charlie went, because I think she's gonna be a big personality, and I think that might get her targeted early. I think she'll go around 9th.
I think that might be fair.
Yeah, I think she's going to be very high variance. It's either going to be, why did we waste Brittany on her? She was clearly full of it. Or why did we not cast her for Brittany in season 1? Why did we not find her as a 17-year-old and put her on the first stranded season she ever wanted to be?
Hey, no. Watch out, Tim. No, I know what you mean. Yeah. No, I think she'll be great. I don't know if she'll be like a great player, but I think she'll be a great personality. And that's all we really care about. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about, I have him down as JC. I know we didn't like settle on that, but I thought it was hilarious, so I just put it down. He's played by Mert de Goose.
I think you're missing. I think you're skipping someone.
Oh, I sure did. Scratch that. Forget I said anything. So up next we have Ailey, who is played by Callie. One of our. It's funny that I forgot about her because we skipped over her in the interview and casting process as well. Unfortunately, because I think she was a fantastic find, and I'm glad that Nofo was going over the apps again so that we could come across her. Let's talk about Callie a little bit. Let me pull up her app. All right, she is 23 years old. She says, I think most people go into the game trying to be the person who runs things from the shadows, but I might be a little too outspoken for that. I honestly wouldn't care if I got a bad edit or if people saw me as a villain, as long as they respect my game. That's what's most important to me. I want to get to know people for who they are, not who they want to be seen as. Hopefully, I can get into a bigger alliance and make friends with everyone so I can start pulling the strings from behind. After the first couple of evictions, I'll start playing hard and for the win. I'll throw anybody under the bus other than my ride or die to get to the end. A huge personality. I think maybe our biggest, to be honest. She says she'll come across as a villain, but I didn't get that at all from her interview.
I'm just going to say it. I'm glad that Big Brother 23 or whatever it was, 22 was canceled, because I'm sure if it was still going to happen, I'm sure she'd be on it because she's just that personable and that entertaining. I really like her, and she's probably my favorite.
Agreed.
Yeah, she was in casting for Big Brother last year, I think.
Yeah, if you go through her interview with us, you could. There's like a point where she just starts interviewing us, and she just took entire control over the conversation. She has that kind of charisma.
Yes. So
yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. One of the few applicants to actually ask us a series of questions about the game and playing it, which I really respect.
She was our last interview, technically. I mean, there were 2 more, but they don't count. And before that, I had said, like, oh, is someone finally going to ask a question about the game? And they ended up not. I think that was Beagle Babe, maybe. But, finally someone asked the question. I mean, there's like a winner there. There's all finalists, people who've played multiple seasons. Like, why would you not take the opportunity to ask them, hey, how should I approach this? How do I win this? And it's crazy to me that no one else has done it this season. But she was able to finally do that. And I think that goes to show just how analytical she's going to be. I think that gives her a little bit of an edge in my estimation. I think she's going to do very well. I think she's actually my pick for that Final 4 spot that you're talking about, Nofo.
Right. I think that's very fair. I think that's a very good point, because she is definitely the person I really want to see go far, and I really hope she does. And I think she has that strategic game. I think she has that social skill to get her that far. But I also worry, is she that personable that they're going to take her out, as soon as they can, fairly early on?
I don't know that. I guess it happens, but it would be pretty rare. And I think she's the type that would know that was happening and would kind of be able to divert that. I also think she might be the type that was the one putting together that plan on someone else,
Yeah, I could see what you're saying with, being recognized and people going after her. But at the same time, I don't think she's going to overplay very early. I think she'll do a great job of building those bonds and making it so nobody wants to take her out because everybody is going to think she's on their side. How well she can maneuver that will remain to be seen, but I think nobody's going to want to target her.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking of the last two Isolateds we did. Isolated 3 was very different from Isolated 4. Isolated 3 started off like 1,000,000 miles an hour with everyone scheming and strategizing for the first boot, which was like pretty obvious first boot. And Isolated 4 was the opposite of that, where, there were several inactives, so no one really had to play too hard initially. So I think it could go one of two ways. There are going to be hopefully very few inactives this time, so I could see people overplaying and targeting real threats at the beginning. But even in Isolated 3, no real threat went home until jury, I don't think.
Right. I think you're pretty much right about that. I think our biggest players all made it pretty far. And hopefully we could get something similar here. Because, if we could get people like Brett, Haley, Matt, Winston, our invaders, who we're not really going to talk about here, if we could get those people, to the final 9 or whatever, it'd be an amazing season.
I think we're guaranteed to get at least 2 big new characters towards the end of the game.
Yeah, there's 8 or 9 people on this cast who I think have the potential of being those really, really big characters, and just mathematically, except they're the first 8 or 9 boots, we're good.
But even then, who's left? The invaders? That wouldn't be terrible, I guess.
Yeah.
It would be kind of terrible, but...
But as far as Haley goes, I absolutely adore her. She's my favorite interview I think we had. I'm very excited to see her play.
Yeah, I think that was the takeaway, was we all really liked talking to her. I think Loveita said she was super easy to talk to the point where we just kept talking to her without realizing how much time had gone by.
Yeah, we definitely had conversations about video games. So very unrelated to interviews, just because of how natural the conversation shifted.
And like Nate was saying earlier, she is the one person I think out of anyone who has been on Stranded or Isolated, I really could see her on Big Brother. And, I'm going to call it, next year, keep an eye out for the cast list because she might be on it.
Could you imagine if Casey and Haley ended up on Big Brother together and there was an Isolated alliance?
Oh my God. Amazing.
We're going to will that into existence. It's shocking to me that Isolated and Stranded has not had anyone on the actual show yet, considering how many people have applied and gotten far into casting. It's going to happen sooner or later.
We have it crazy, it's just not crazy enough.
Yeah, or too crazy, maybe.
Yeah, you got to pass the mental health check.
Yeah, that's probably our barrier for entry is the mental health test, keeping people off. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about JC, aka Mert de Goose. He is 23 years old. He said, well, what's your main motivation for playing? It's a great opportunity to showcase my natural manipulative abilities. He says he would actually be portrayed as an over-emotional, highly intelligent knee-jerker. He says he works at a very eccentric bar, and I meet so many different types of humans that I can usually strike up a conversation with anyone, finding at least one thing in common and making them feel comfortable. I respect any type of gameplay as long as you play hard. If I'm going to be evicted, I want it to be because I was a threat in challenges or working really hard socially. People that float by on saying empty sweet nothings and floating are horrible to watch and no fun to play with. #ew. Oh, he was also the one who said, choose me. I'm pretty and fun and young and hung.
But yeah, that's how you get cast as JC.
Oh, yeah.
That's how you do it.
If the cast is younger, it's only going to be around 23 or so, because I think we have a lot of people around that age.
Yeah. No, I mean, younger in terms of compared to Kuril Islands or, which was mostly mid-30s.
That's because we don't have people like Susie.
Yeah, well, I think this cast is early 20s as opposed to late 20s, early 30s.
So it's pretty similar to how the show would cast.
That's true. Maybe that's just
Yeah,
the
we
audience.
just don't have the random oldie. No offense to Susie.
Big Brother's audience probably skews a little younger too. That's probably why we get so many younger applications for Isolated. JC, I think he's a lot of fun. I know his interview was like super fun. He was one of the ones that I was looking forward to.
Yeah, I think he described himself in the interview as a villain wrapped in a cute and posh personality.
What the fuck is he, British?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Is he British?
No, and we have a British guy that applied. I don't think this is him though, huh?
Yeah, he mentions his CNT as his time zone.
What is that? What is CNT? CMT is Central.
Yeah, maybe CMT is Central.
That's, yeah, what's CNT?
They're next to each other on the keyboard.
Yeah, it could be a mistake.
That's gotta be it. Okay. I didn't know if it was like Canadian, who knows?
Yeah, I think he'll be a lot of fun. Another thing he talked about, he's most scared of his issues with self-control and discipline when it comes to this game. So I think he might get over the top really quickly, which could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, this is the one that I thought was another one that would like get into the game and freak the fuck out. Where, maybe they said they wanted to be kind of under the radar, but like all the people they said that they were like way over the top. And I just see this person like having a lot of nervous energy. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah, I definitely agree with that. Nervous energy for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of him. I really don't have a huge read on how I think he'll do.
I would say this. I think we got a lot of applications, and we're getting more applications in this younger age range where I'm going to assume he's gay, right? We get a lot of these younger gay fans who are a lot like Devon, and I've seen them in orgs that I've played, and it's like the same sense of humor and almost the same personality, honestly. And it's to the point where it's kind of hard to tell just how personable they'll actually be because they kind of mask it with everything else. But of those apps, this one stood out to me, and I think to everyone else, because he was actually really funny.
Yeah, he didn't seem like that to me.
But you know what I'm talking about. Like there was certainly.
I know what you mean, but that's not how he felt.
No, I could send you 10 of them from another org that are all that. They're all actually pretty boring, but they do use like funny language. This is not that. I think this guy was like actually kind of entertaining, and so I'm interested to see how he'll play because I don't think I've like pinned him as this awesome strategist, but that would be kind of cool if he turned out to be.
I don't see him as the strategist type too much. If we're making Big Brother comparisons, I kind of see like a Tommy type vibe about him. If that makes any sense. Like I feel like he'll come off as just like super excitable, really passionate about everything. The way that people get annoyed about Tommy in the show. But I don't think he'll play like Tommy. I think he'll play a little bit more over the top.
Yeah, he says he's witty and savage, but also like a social butterfly and just a people person. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to make a huge impact strategically. Again, I think he's just going to be a fun personality. I hope I'm wrong. I hope a lot of these people, as I've said, I think some of these people that have the personality might surprise us once they're in the game, where that personality turns into like a little bit of nervous energy.
He said in one of his games, he voted out his online boyfriend, in quotes, at Final Four. So he's willing to cut the people he's closest to, for sure, which I think could make for some fun drama, too.
We had a lot of 10-gauged applications this season. I hope they don't all know each other.
I also think that 10 gauge is you could be part of 10 gauge and just be someone who plays the casting games or be someone like Randy who is more fully into it. There's different levels of engagement, so there's a lot more different groups within 10 gauge.
Yeah, and I don't get the sense that there's like 10 gauged communities of people that know each other so much as like it's almost like a Roblox type deal where people just join and it's a little anonymous. Because like Randy didn't know any of these people.
It was more of a thing in like 2015ish, but not now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Most of our apps came from Google, so
SEO game on point.
Yeah, and most of the Google apps played 10 gauge.
Right. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. Let's move on. Up next, we have Kristen, who was played by Beagle Babe X3.
One of the most controversial apps.
This was one that we had argued over. She was one of the last spots that we were deciding on. She is 25. She's a female. She works as a pharmacist. And she says, I just graduated with my doctorate in pharmacy, and I am currently a pharmacist in a residency. I have not made time for myself in 7 years due to my training, and I'm ready to do that. She's newly married, looking to start family soon, so this is like her last hurrah, I guess. I don't know. This was the controversial part. She said, I want to win comps. I always told myself I would be the Victoria if I got on the show, so I hope to prove myself wrong. I want one close ally for the long haul, but I wouldn't be opposed to aligning with a larger group with a variety of strengths. She really, I think she won us over as she went. Of course, like she won Nofo over instantly. But for the rest of us, we all had a question mark because of how passively she said she wanted to play. Like, she really sold herself on not wanting to play a hard game and wanting to kind of float along. That being said, like, I think her personality was strong enough and she was likable enough to like try to find herself, I guess. That storyline in itself probably got her casted here.
She's very sweet, but she doesn't have any confidence in herself. She has very little confidence in her social skills. I really want to see her come out of her box here, and I'm very concerned for her, but she is so likable, and I really want to root for her here.
Yeah, I think in terms of what she can do, she's either going to be the person who becomes like the strongest story of the season. She's the Loveita of the season, the one that everyone's like, this is a newbie. This is just her fantastic story. She comes out of her shell. Or, she just out of the game quickly.
Yeah, she very much got casted on that storyline. You know, the potential storyline of her coming out of her shell and growing confidence in herself and in her game. And, you know, that's what I really want to see from her. And I don't know if I can expect that or not, but just the potential for that makes her a worthy cast for me.
She's our risk of the season, let's say. Where each season, you know, we have one spot left and we take a risk on someone that we just have a gut feeling. She gives us some good things to go off of, but not like a slam dunk. And I think that's this, you know, the potential to be great outweighs the risk.
But I absolutely adore her.
I would say, yeah, I think we're casting her less because we think she'll be like somebody to watch in the game and more to see what she can get out of the experience. And it's almost like, I don't want to say mentorship, but it's almost like if we look back on this season when it ends and she grew from this experience, we can be proud of that as the hosts, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, we're not here to...
we're not here to help people, you know, grow as you know, yeah, grow in their journeys.
I don't think Stranded and Isolated would be the perfect school for building people's confidence, but
yeah, maybe.
You know, weirder things have happened. I know what you're saying. Like, you know, we're iffy on it. Let's put it that way. We don't know if she'll succeed, but that's the excitement. We don't know if anyone will succeed, to be frank.
Yeah, I could see her really like taking this head on, taking advantage of the fact that it's text only, really using it as a way to test herself and see how she can do. But I could also see her just kind of going into the background and getting forgotten about in the game until like Final 8, Final 7, when they're like, oh, this person's still here.
I think Kathy's one of those people. We always cast a few people who are like, they're going to have fun. And I think she strikes me as somebody who is going to put the time in. It's something she wants to do. And I think it's always better to take a risk on somebody who really wants to be a part of the experience and wants to try their hand on it than to cast somebody who has a lot of experience in orgs with a big personality. So I think she'll be good.
I think if she could win a comp towards the beginning of the season, I think we're going to see her confidence grow. I think that's pretty much going to be the catalyst for her. I really hope she can find something to focus on in the game and let loose, like Danni and Loveita said, and just try to have fun with it.
So definitely our underdog story this season. I have compiled all the ages now, so I can confirm that the next person, Matt, played by Maddie Bett, appropriately, is our oldest contestant at 34 of the new players. Maybe of the old players too. Might be the oldest person this season.
And the average cast is exactly what I thought it was, right at 25.
Yes, I did just calculate that.
So Maddie was one of our slam dunks all around. Let's go over his app. So he's 34, and he also, I think he is the one who teaches expelled students. Oh, yeah. He's the one with like 1 million jobs. Yeah. He's been a professional wrestler, a baseball coach, a gambling journalist, and countless other things in between.
I'm just going to say outright, this was one of my standout apps of everybody. I loved this guy. I loved his interview. I don't know how well he'll do. I could see him winning. I could see him flaming out pretty early, but he seems like somebody who's going to be a great addition to the cast. And I just love his story. So I'm a little obsessed with the teaching the junior high program for expelled kids that you can't legally kick out of school. He has to deal with a lot of conflict. He has to handle a lot of very hard to handle people, and I think that will be in his benefit.
And that's perfect for a game like this.
Like, I see him as the more evolved Brett, or more evolved Chubbs. Like, he might have been that arrogant, cocky type personality, and he's gone through that. He's experienced more hardships. He's grown out of that. And now he can kind of look back at everything and stay measured while still having kind of that, I don't want to say inflated, but high sense of self.
I got a kind of judgmental vibe off of him, off of the way he described his feelings about his students. So I'm kind of concerned about that for him. I think...
So he says that he has to work hard to be good at what he does and stay on the cutting edge. And sometimes people want you to do it their way so they don't have to learn something new or hard. I think he's going to be really good at dealing with a lot of different personalities. If he can deal with, let's just say, junior high, that's a rough age, generally rebellious. And if he's dealing with like the ones who were expelled or damn near expelled, that's rough,
I mean, he's definitely very perfect for the kind of people we usually cast in Stranded and stuff, so he could do very well. He'll do very well in the server, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can see... I think one of the things that pops out to me is the fact that I don't think he's going to take things personally. So I think when there is conflict, I think he'll be able to use that to his advantage rather than getting caught up in it. Like I think a lot of other players might.
He said, as long as they can legally purchase a nudie magazine, I can probably have a conversation with them. I liked him a lot. I thought he was funny. I thought he was the maturity level that we needed for this cast. I think that's going to benefit him a lot, and especially because he's used to relating to younger people too.
Right, I agree with that.
I think he's going to do very well. I'm going to say final 5.
He's someone I could see winning.
Same. I've been thinking that the whole casting process, and like I can see it. I don't know if it'll happen, but he definitely has high win equity, in my opinion.
I think he'll really get along with some of our invaders as well. I think it's going to be fun. I think the game will change dramatically when a lot of our invaders enter.
Yeah, because they're a lot older as well, I think, on average.
Yes.
So I can see them being a lot more divided initially.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about our next house guest. One of my personal favorites. I think everyone else shares that as well.
Yep.
Monet, played by Androgynous Tay.
Yeah, I love them. Great app.
He's 27 years old. His application listed him as a female, but he said in his interview that he's androgynous, so he goes by either because a lot of people mistake him as a woman. Fine with that. Says, I am an EMT for my city as well as a 911 dispatcher. So I do get busy, but I'm able and ready to play. I can be shy at times, but once I open up, I come alive, and I would love to see how I can make it work in the Big Brother house. I just really thought he was a really sweet person. Like, you get that instantly, like a very warm, open vibe, very easy to talk to, and just generally likable, I think. And really open to the sarcasm and joking around. So I think he's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I fully agree. Of people who I say were automatic slam dunks when the interview happened, it was them 100%.
Yeah, I think they were the people, they were the person I think we were really comparing to our Jordan, right?
Yeah.
So just a very sweet, but also has that bubbly sarcasm to them.
Well, he actually compared himself to Jordan and really wanted to play as Jordan, which I thought was interesting. I'm trying to see if I can find because I did ask about the name.
Oh, that's in the beginning of the interview, I think.
It was a long interview, actually. I mean, yes. Longer than most of them. Okay, so I said, what's the story behind your name? And he said, well, I'm gay. I get mistaken for a girl constantly, so androgyny is one who shares characteristics of both genders, which I do. I just love how it fits with my name. It doesn't bring about being gender fluid or anything like that.
Yeah, I recall them saying, but I might be wrong.
They said, I'd rather lose and be loved. Most people are hated. It's for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, they're very nice. They're a very sweet person.
Super nice.
Even the job is badass.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're definitely very sweet. Describes themselves as shy. Derek is one of their favorite games of all time. Watching the way Derek played the game. So I don't know how exciting of a game they'll play necessarily, but I think they'll do well.
Yeah, this is one where I'm hoping she doesn't get shoved to the background. Because I think that might be easy. We saw it even with Jordan. That being said, Jordan was highly entertaining just from how lovable she was. So I think I could see that as well. I don't know that I would necessarily say they were going to be a threat to win, but I could certainly see them making it far.
Definitely. As somebody who also went in trying to play a very Derek-like game, it can be very hard to, if you don't do it properly, you're going to lose. Or you're going to need to win out. One of those two things.
Right.
But, and I don't know if I can see Monet necessarily winning it out or putting themselves in that strategic mastermind position as quickly as you need to in order to play a Derek Levasseur type of game from the top in the background in the shadows.
Right. Any more thoughts about Monet? Monet.
I really hope she's not going to be an early boo, but I could see that happening for her, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
It's going to depend if she gets left out in the cold, I think. All right. Well, let's move on to our next house guest, Reagan, played by Thunder Down Below, who is from the UK, although the name sounds like they would be from Australia. They are 19 years old, I think our youngest.
Yeah, and
yes.
I think they're Randy's friend, right?
Yeah.
Maybe so, yeah.
Randy just knows everybody.
He's a Scooby-Doo super fan. That was the one thing that really stood out in the application for some reason. He says, I'm a cutthroat villain who will do whatever he can to win the game at all costs, but while feeling bad about it to the point of tears and breakdown. I know I won't be the most deserving player to win, but I'll be the best option of the final two. I dislike game bots. Like, it's a game, not a business trip. You're not really winning $500,000. It's not that serious. I will try and remain free of drama whilst also encouraging any drama from happening. Go ahead, Nofo.
Oh, you're done? Oh.
Yeah, sorry.
He's not going to like a lot of these people if he doesn't like game bots.
I don't know. I feel like we have a couple people who we thought were just nice personalities.
But I also think he's the type of person who will have fun with a gamebot personality. Like, he seems like he's got a little bit of that troll edge to him based on how fun and kind of flippant he was in the interview.
How he knows Randy.
And he knows Randy. So definitely troll potential right there. He also said in his interview that he definitely, if he's going to go down, he's going to go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, so, I'm on his Tumblr Survivor page right now, and it says, you can find Michael in your local VL because he never shuts the F up. Which I think is a good thing for this season, actually.
Yeah, a very big mix of personalities here, which you always want. I could see this cast uniting together, especially, but I think even before they are aware of the invaders, I think that they will unite together as a group and make some unanimous decisions early on. And then I think when the invaders enter, I think that will get even worse because I think there'll be an us versus them. I'm hoping that Reagan is one of the ones to kind of break that down, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think that's very fair.
They did, in his application, he did mention in his last Big Brother org, he got player of the season as well as that 4th place positioning. So I think he is definitely going to bring a lot of fun and entertainment to the cast. I think he kind of likes to push buttons. If things get too boring or too straightforward, he's going to try to stir that pot. And I think that's somebody we need on this cast.
Yeah, he says he's played 13 games in 2 years, won 3 orgs. I don't know what these orgs are, though. He says the pro board Skype games, so maybe a little bit more serious than a Discord. I don't know. I think he's more than a typical Discord org player, you know?
Yeah. Tumblr Survivor is a bit more effort than Discord.
Yeah. I actually don't know if he's played any Discord orgs. I'm not sure. I guess just because of Randy, I get that impression.
Yeah, it says here 2 out of the 3 are Tumblr Survivor. But he has 2 out of 3 on a game, which is very impressive.
Well, Randy hadn't played a whole lot of Discord orgs. I think he'd only played a few. He mostly was in that whole Skype realm, similar to Reagan.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes.
I could see him being an early jury member. I could see him going further than that. But I don't know if I see him going out before that.
That's a good take. I'm going to say like final 8, I think.
Yeah, I think the closest thing you could get to the Strat experience is probably something which is a Skype game where you do have to talk more. So at least he has some idea of what this is going in. But I don't like the 4 AMs for him. Don't trust anyone from the UK. They're always going to lose.
Yeah, not the best track record. All right, well, that was Reagan. Let's move on to Scotty, another one of our picks that we had debated on. He's played by Patinez. Pull up his app. He was referred to as by another Kirill alumni, Devins. A lot more personality than Devins, though, to be fair. He's 24 years old. He says, when I don't have reasons to unleash my bitterness at anyone, are mostly very friendly, very eager, and kind of kooky, to the point in which a lot of people, especially those who don't know me very well, can ask themselves what in the heck is wrong with me. I don't like to immediately fight back without at least considering if I'm actually wrong. I consistently played games of all sorts for 8 years, many of those hosted by Devins, a great friend of mine who referred me to this series. He says he has over 40 game wins, and he's one of the most prominent players there. We also know that those games are like totally different from Stranded, but this time I think Devins has at least prepared him for that. I also got the sense, like, I've talked to Devins and I've talked to Patinez, who's playing Scotty. I think he was a lot more fun, is what I've got. Like, Devins was more serious gameplay, whereas this guy's was like mostly about personality.
I definitely agree with that take. Devin seems a little bit more of a game body, whereas Scotty just kind of came out there with the fun personality, has definitely communicated a lot with Devins about what to expect, and I think knows what he's getting into.
He also talked a lot, which was good. Even in his application, it's super long and very descriptive. So, I think we're in for that. I think he's going to be a big personality, if anything else. A cast avatar, so can't be all bad.
Yeah, and at least he'll know what to come in as expecting.
And he said he'd never seen a single episode of Big Brother, right?
Yeah, which, in my opinion, honestly doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not watching Big Brother is very different to not watching Survivor, because Big Brother rarely focuses on the strategy.
Hey, now, I don't watch Survivor, or I didn't when I played Stranded.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when I played Isolated, I've probably watched less than 7 full episodes of Big Brother.
I feel like Big Brother is more heavily strategic.
If you follow it online, it is.
Yeah, if you watch it live, for sure. But if you're watching just the episodes after the fact, definitely not.
Yeah. Well, the episodes are idiotic,
Yeah.
I can't imagine anyone watching the show.
Another good quote from Scotty's interview, at any rate, was, "Even if I end up being a dumbass player, dumb moves are still fun to remember." And that was something I liked about, he's not afraid to put himself out there. I don't think he'll be afraid to try things,
Yeah, I think this season we have a weird mix of like young, overly enthusiastic game players and bigger personalities. I feel like there's like 4 people similar to Scotty and Reagan. I don't know. It's an interesting mix. I could see Scotty going very far, actually. I don't know about winning, but maybe. I don't know. It depends on how strategic he actually is. Because all I've seen so far is the personality, which is great. I don't know if he can win, though. Like, he says he's won 40 games, but those are like forum games. Those don't really count. I don't know. I'm going to say he's probably an earlier boot, if I had to say. But if he's not an early boot, I think he can go very far.
Yeah, I think Danny and I are both hoping he'll be first boot, just because we don't want Scotty as a rep to go any further than that.
Yeah, I agree with the extremism, either very far or like very early. I don't see him kind of getting out in the middle somehow.
But as far as, I think he's very much a fish out of water, going from forum games to this, and I hope Devins has prepared him.
Yeah, Devins, your reputation is riding on this. Your redemption arc needs to, your boy better deliver to redeem you a little bit. All right, I guess that's all we can really say about Scotty. Let's go ahead and move on to Winston, our final house guest, played by Jay-Z Henson, someone who applied for Stranded, infamously got into a few arguments in our application there. I think he's going to be really good. This is my winner pick, Winston. He says...
And Danny knows him, right?
I think so. Yeah, maybe so.
I know him too. I played with him.
Yeah, he's from the Good and Evil series, I believe, as well as
How well did he do there?
He was like 19 out of 24. He's a very nice guy. He's autistic, so I'm very interested to see how he does. He's a very nice person. He's very personable. I think he's going to be one to watch here for sure.
He's 26, and he says, "I'm definitely more gamebot than class clown, but I've got a lot of sarcasm, deadpan sense of humor for a lot of things that I do." He says he's sort of a cerebral underdog who has to fight through adversity and is able to strategically maneuver my way to the end, inspiring the youth of America with my story. I thought he was hilarious. I didn't pick up on the fact that he was autistic. Is he like Asperger's or?
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's hilarious. That's number one. I see him doing really well. I got the sense that he was like a really good player, although I did speak to him and he was, debating on playing this. but he was waiting to see how he did in another org where he was voted out. So, and I think it was kind of early in the season. So I guess it's hit or miss for him. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how I think. He's very hit or miss as well.
I do know like he was for sure going to be on Stranded if he was able to play, but he dropped out last minute. So, I think he's going to be good.
I think I'm reading through his interview right now since it was the Stranded interview, and I kind of missed a lot of it. And there are certainly some fun aspects to it. But I think here's a quote that sticks out to me. If you're looking to cast me because you need someone who's just going to start flame wars all day, every day, you should probably move on. If you're looking to cast me because you want diverse people responding to a high-pressure social situation, you want to see what craziness ensues. I've got a lot to bring to the table. And I think that shows like a dynamic player.
Yeah.
I can say words. It's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I actually kind of got that he was a little snarky and would be the cause of some drama. Maybe that's like his answer to how do you think he would actually be portrayed is a socially out of touch, egocentric neckbeard who leaves early and is humiliated. I think this guy's gonna be fun. I don't know how he was in the other game, but I kind of hope his personality that he's showing in interviews and through messaging him kind of shines.
Definitely. I think I see him contrasted with that kind of personality type you were talking about earlier, Poody, that the young gay gamer with all the slang who's using that as a personality type thing. I think he's recognizing that in that quote I said and saying, that's not the type of person I am. I'm going to be a lot of fun, but I'm not a stereotype. I'm going to bring something unique.
I don't know. I think he's used to, in pro boards, he's probably a lot similar to Stranded, where they have people that just play for the lulls and just troll everyone to start drama just because it's funny.
No, that's not how people play over there.
Okay.
They take it very, very seriously. Far more serious than Stranded. Like, they are very game body. And he's not like that, though. I really like him. He's a very nice person.
Yeah, we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes early, but I think he could win. Maybe that's naive.
No, I think he's got that potential. I could see it. I don't know how he's going to interact with a lot of these cast members, though. I don't know. You guys would know him better than I do.
I feel like he'll get along with the invaders better than the new players.
I could see that.
Socially out of touch. I don't know. We'll see. So that's our group of house guests, our new house guests. We are about to start in 4 days, so very soon. We'll see how these guys all pan out if our predictions come true. I always love the start of a season because we get, some surprises, people that we didn't expect much from, or, people we thought would be one way and then they are completely different. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how these 13 the lucky 13 new house guests interact.
It should be a fun bunch. I think there's a lot of people who are very similar, but overall it's very diverse, very different, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be very different from previous seasons.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, if Isolated 3 was front loaded with drama and Isolated 4 was back loaded with drama, I don't know. Maybe this one will be in the middle or all over. Who knows? But anyway, so that's our cast for Isolated 5 Invasion. I think it's going to be a fun group. I look forward to seeing how they play.